Alright guys, I've had a frustrating night because of all the shit that happened with Fuka and other things. So let's end it with a frustrating episode of Masamune-Kun's Revenge, episode 7. How do I put this in simple terms that I can say without shitting on this whole series right now? Nothing happened. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's how I feel, but probably, you could say that progress happened. So my issue, or not my issue, my mind and my dilemma with this episode is just that Masamune-Kun's Revenge is doing the thing that I'm most, well, for one, it's just prolonging itself until episode 12 in what I see here. So, you try to make this episode sound a little bit serious with Yoshino saying, oh, if you don't make a move or you don't make any progress in this episode, I'm gonna tell Aki everything up to this point. And I'm just like, oh, it sounds so serious. And then, you have them act all like a boyfriend and whatnot in front of the secretary and in front of everyone else. It's all just an act. And then, you have the secretary try and like ruin the relationship between Aki and Masamune. But then instead, you have the secretary liking Masamune-Kun, and I'm just like, what the hell when did this happen? You're trying to impress Aki, not the damn secretary, but then, it's just like, it just naturally happened. And I'm just like, well, we'll never see the end of this series at this rate, because for one, he keeps trying to impress Aki, but instead he impresses like other freaking girls in the series. I'm just like, this is never gonna end. It's never gonna end. It's never gonna end. But then, you could probably say that, through helping the secretary and whatnot, and just sort of being on the island, becoming or quote unquote, like pretending to become Aki's boyfriend and whatnot, sort of made the relationship a bit better, I guess. I don't know if it's just me or not, but like this scene with the secretary, I just did not find that super necessary at all. I'm just like, why? Why this person, the secretary is just like here for this one episode because they go back home at the end of this episode. I'm just like, why the whole secretary thing here? Why? It's just like, I don't know, it's whatever. But, so part of me is just like, why this scene? And then two, part of me is just like, okay, finally, I could probably say some progress has been made, and Masamune-Kun's relationship and Aki's relationship are slowly getting better. Slowly, I say, because 5 and 6 were a cluster crap of, wait, was it 5 through 6? Yeah, we're on 7. 5 through 6 were a clusterfucks of just Neko introducing herself to the series, and then sort of like trying to make Masamune-Kun like her. And then in this episode, they introduced another damn girl. It's never gonna end. So, I still enjoyed the episode, but part of me is just like, why is this here? Why is this here? I don't know. It's like an ongoing dilemma right now with me. I'm just like, do I really like this series right now, or am I just like pulling myself through every episode and just waiting for something to happen significantly? So here was my thought, right? Here's my thought for this episode, right? This is my legit thought. So I thought that in this episode you would have, the whole idea of them, doing the test of courage, right? The test of courage seemed like a great idea for the thing for Maki and Masamune-Kun to get better. Here was my idea, right? And so, they can do the island, they can pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend, right? But my idea was that something was gonna happen to Masamune-Kun that would make Aki, sort of like worried about him. So like the episode 4 in the car scene, right? Aki gets almost ran over, and then Masamune-Kun comes save her, and then it's just like, oh, that was like the freaking greatest thing to happen to make them like each other more, right? Like it brought them closer together so much. So my idea was that in the test of courage set up by the secretary, right, something would happen to Masamune-Kun. He would like be on the verge of dying or something like that, right? And then Aki would show some worry to him, and then sort of like bring the relationship back together. That was my idea, but then I guess it just got sort of like if things don't go my way, and I'm just like, oh, I guess you can have whatever the hell this was and whatnot. So I thought that there was like gonna be a super solid like thing that happens between Masamune-Kun and Aki in this episode that would bring them back together, or fix the relationship to an extent, right? But I don't see that thing. Like, you have them go through a test of courage, you have them be scared, you have the secretary sort of like hit herself, she gets injured, and Masamune-Kun takes care of her, and then so Aki is sort of like, I guess like, oh, he helped my secretary, so he's cool or whatever, right? And then the secretary starts liking Masamune-Kun to an extent. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy is such a nice dude and whatever. This is just dilemma. So that was my thoughts and thinking for this episode. I don't know what the hell's like. I need something to significantly happen in this series. Like at this point, like nothing. I wouldn't say anything really big has happened in the series yet. Probably like the most. Episode 4 was so perfect, and I can keep coming back to that episode because it was the most perfectly timed episode ever, and you had it all ruined in the end, and it could have been so. I don't know, man. It was just like. It seemed to flow so nicely, and then after episode 4, everything sort of went like, to me. I'm just like, about everything. I don't know, man. It's whatever. I want to see what the hell happens in this series. If episode 12, he doesn't achieve the plan or nothing like conclusive happens, then I'm gonna be super done with this series. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I expected that to happen, and it's just like. No, this could have been a super short series if you just like, made it through episode 4 and then you had them, go through the plan and shit and then, like, do whatever. But here's my thinking, right? So, in the opening, you have this scene where Masamune-Kun's like, I don't know, a prince or something like that. They're doing like a stage drama thing in the opening, and then you have Aki as the princess. I think that's like the final scene or the final thing in the series. That's really what my thought is, because I didn't notice it before. I'm just like, that could probably happen there, and then just like, blam. That's my thinking. So I'm tired right now, and I'm still frustrated from what happened with Fuka's episode. So I'm gonna go calm down a bit. Let me calm down a bit and give my final thoughts on this episode, because once again, part of me was like super about this scene because it was unnecessary, but part of me is like, okay, that's fine, because now Masamune-Kun and Aki are sort of like better in their relationship. I have no clue, but that's just how I feel right now in all summary. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I probably raged a little bit in this episode just because I'm so frustrated what happened at Fuka episode 8. You can check that out, what happened there. I kept it in the video because there's just no damn way I was redoing that shit. But yes, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys on the next video on the TheDomotaku channel, so stay tuned. Take care guys, Mafune, and good night.